So today I am in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. It is crazy, it is awesome. And in today's video, I'm gonna share why I decided to drop out of Western society and move to Southeast Asia. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. But let me ask you, like, do you feel like life in the West just feels a bit suffocating? Like, I know for me, it felt really, really suffocating. For years, I felt like I just played by society's rules and it didn't really get me anywhere except just being depressed and in debt. So 7 years ago, I made the decision which would change the rest of my life. Today, I want to share exactly what I did so that I was able to up and leave the West and get more freedom over my life so I could travel the world so that you can do the same. And I know what you're thinking, right? Who the hell is this guy and why should I listen to him when every knob jockey on YouTube is talking about this kind of thing, right? It's crazy, I had no idea that Ho Chi Minh was so insanely cheap. I just came in here and I got this lovely iced latte and it came to 55,000 dong. I think it's like £1.20, £1.30, like $1.50, $1.60. It's like 50% cheaper than Bangkok where I live. It's crazy. And the coffee shops are just beautiful. I mean, check this out. And this view is so nice as well. I mean, look at this view. Wow. Imagine coming and sitting and working in coffee shops like this, just with your laptop and everything, Honestly, it's even better than you can imagine, and you fucking got it. You can do this. So just to give you a little bit of context, about 7 years ago, my life sucked. I was in £25,000 worth of debt, like $30,000 worth of debt. I had a 248 credit score and I was paying back £1 a month on what's called a debt repayment scheme where basically you can't keep up your debt payments and you pay back £1 a month, and it was a mess, and I was like sleeping on couches and I was in a pickle. At the time, I worked as a recruitment consultant at a local company and I was working for a boss I despised. And every day this guy used to come in at like 11 in the morning in his black Lambo Huracan, which just so happened to be my favorite car at the time. Probably still is. And he'd come in and he'd get his Amazon deliveries and then pat his little minions on the back and then swan off for the day. Like, I just felt like I was drowning, and it just felt like society had just sort of said, right, this is your future, this is your life. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go, you're gonna get a job, you're gonna get a missus, you're gonna save up, then you're gonna put a deposit down on a mortgage you're gonna pay off for the next 30 years, then you're gonna have a kid, and then you're gonna be in some sexless marriage where you're gonna get 2 hand jobs a year, if you're lucky, and then in 30 years time, on the way to work on a Monday morning, I'm gonna feel a pain in my chest, double over, tell myself it's going to go away, it doesn't, call someone to get an ambulance for me, and if I'm lucky enough to survive the 2 to 6 hour wait for an ambulance in the UK, I'll lay there in hospital on my deathbed, hating myself for the risks I didn't take and the mess I made of my life. And it just felt horrible. It felt like I was drowning, and that vision for a future scared the shit out of me. Just my life felt entirely devoid of meaning, so I tried to find meaning in fitness and I became a rampant steroid abuser. I ended up getting to the point where I was injecting like 8 times a day, and despite the fact I got pretty damn jacked, I was no happier. I had no more meaning in my life. But then I discovered 2 books, and the lessons in these 2 books changed my entire life, and they might change yours too. Remember one day it was about 12 o'clock. I think we were just about to break for lunch, and I was sitting at my desk at my recruitment job, and the boss, one of his Amazon deliveries happened to be for me, and I am actually eternally grateful for what he did. So he gave me a book, and that book was Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, and he gave that to me because I think he saw I had a bit more potential, but I was just plagued by limiting beliefs, and I just didn't really feel that I was capable of anything great at all. And I think he saw that, so he gave me this book. Now, at the time, I was living in a shared house. I was paying like £500, like $700 a month for a 1-bedroom, well, a double bedroom in a shared house, basically. And I was driving a £1,200 piece of crap Hyundai. So I really thought, like, what did I have to lose? So I decided to read the book. I still remember it to this day. I went to my mum's and I was sitting in the living room and I was reading the words on the page, and I read the words, "Nothing has any meaning except the meaning that you give it." And at the time I remember just like, wow, it just blew my mind. Because for me, everywhere I looked in the world, I thought everything meant something. But I didn't realize I was creating the meaning in everything around me. And the meaning that I created was either more empowering or disempowering. And suddenly I could strip back everything that happened in my life and give it an entirely new meaning. Suddenly, the situation that I was in, living in a shared house and being in tons of debt, was suddenly my superpower, because everyone else had got mortgages and were in tons of debt for the next 25 to 30 years. Whereas me, I had more freedom. I could take risks when other people couldn't. The situation was the same, but another thing that Tony said in that book was, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I was able to look at my life through an entirely new lens, and suddenly I felt so motivated. So, let me ask you, how are you looking at your life right now? Like, what story are you telling yourself about why you can't take the actions that you need to change your life? And I'm not saying this in a condescending way, trust me, I was a mess. But, are you telling yourself you don't have enough time to work on the things that you need to change your life? You saying you don't have enough money to do the things that you need to do to change your life? Well, what if you could reframe that? What if you could change the way you look at it so that thing you're looking at changes? What if the financial constraints that you had forced you to look for creative solutions to make money online that require no money? What if you've got no time? What if that was a constraint that forced you to look for ways of creating money online or launching your own online business or creating a life of freedom that required very little time input? I encourage you, try to turn your excuses into reasons. But all of this was great, but this alone wasn't enough. But what this did do was it got me into reading, and this next book really was that lead domino that toppled over everything in my life. And I think it might do the same for you too. Now, the next book you probably heard of, and it's The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I know what you're probably thinking, right? Everyone talks about this book, and is it some form of a business book? It ain't a business book. Well, it's a business book, but for me, it was more of a life philosophy book. And at the time I was fueled by like this Tony Robbins motivation, right? And I was feeling all pumped, and I had overcome all of my limiting beliefs, and I felt I was finally able to go and create a brilliant life for myself. Whereas before I was just so consumed by my victim mentality, life's against me, had this difficult thing happen in my life, and the constant story I was telling myself about why I couldn't do the things I was gonna do. Well-intentioned people would say, you've done so well considering this bad thing, blah, 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 all of that stuff, right? Anyway, fueled by that new Tony Robbins motivation, I started reading books, and I was go online, like, what's the best make money online books? What's the best entrepreneur books? And the 4-Hour Work Week comes up, so I bought that. But this book, it gave me like an entirely new worldview. Like, it wasn't just about do this, do that. It was a whole new way of just looking at the world. And it directly called out the ideals that Western society has for your life. It's like suddenly the goal isn't to accumulate things, it's to accumulate experiences. And don't try and chase happiness, chase excitement. But there were also some very, very practical things that the book taught me, and it was these things that actually really created the physical shift in my life. And here's what they are. So the first one was to create what's called a TMI, and to focus on cash flow. Western society has sort of conditioned us to think that what we're gonna do is we're gonna accumulate money over the next 30 to 40 years, and then when you've got enough money in the bank and a pension coming in when you're 65, then you're gonna start living your life. Well, it's like the highest energy years of your life are gone, and what are you gonna do? What, you might not make it to then. There's a very real chance you might not make it to that point. And what he said was, look at everything you wanna do in life. Don't hold back. Like, where do you wanna live? What do you wanna drive? Where do you wanna go? What do you wanna do? Right? Write down what you wanna own, where you wanna go, who you wanna be, what you wanna do. Write down all of those things, calculate the cost for them, and create a TMI, or essentially how much it costs each month to do those things. And that becomes a TMI, or target monthly income, okay? And that's all you need. So it's not about having $1 million in the bank, it's about having enough monthly cash flow coming in that funds your dream life. Because here's the thing, a lot of people in the West, they earn enough money, maybe in remote jobs or for their businesses or whatever, to be going to travel the world. But because they're so conditioned to think that you have to wait to retirement to do it, they don't do it, because people just don't have the bollocks sometimes. I know I didn't. And here's the crazy thing, right? Like, I was like, right, where do I want to live? I want to live in a lovely apartment with a nice view. I want to go to Thailand and I want to go to Vietnam. And like, you know, what are the things I want to do there? I want to go nice coffee shops and go nice restaurants and go to the gym and do a few activities, and like, what sort of things do I want to do with my day? Or I want to like make YouTube videos, and I want to write, and I want to read. And like, what do I want to drive? I want to rent nice Jeeps when I go to the island and drive around in the Jeeps. And it's like, holy shit. You know, if you can leave the West and come to Southeast Asia, first off, you immediately 2 to 10x your level of wealth, like overnight. And secondly, all of these things could be done for like an average Western salary if you can just get yourself free from being stuck in the West or stuck and confined to the shackles and the chains of a physical location. Which brings me on to the second point. So Tim Ferriss called it a muse, but essentially an online cash flowing business. So, you know, as I said, at the time I was working as a recruitment consultant, and my life was just a little bit of a mess. But suddenly I had a vision for my life, and that vision for my life was to come to Southeast Asia and fucking travel the world and do what I wanted, right? Have a little bit more freedom. And so I started my own online businesses. Now, look, my journey is going to be different to yours. And the things that I did 7 years ago aren't necessarily the things that I'd recommend you do now. And I will share in a minute the very things that I do recommend you do now, or if I was starting again, exactly what I do. But just for complete transparency, let me share the things that I did just so you can understand. So the first thing I did was I started some e-commerce stores. I was like, right, I need to earn money online. What's the thing at the time? And this is back in like 2017. E-com was shit hot at the time, right? So I launched some online fitness stores, and I grew like these clothing brands and had hundreds of influencers like promoting the products, and made like 10K in the opening weekend. It was brilliant. But what I didn't realize was I'd sort of pioneered this new strategy. So I ended up going over to Arizona, and I lived in Arizona for a couple of months, and I taught these massive masterminds, the new strategies that I'd done. It was awesome. So I ended up, you know, working with a fantastic mentor of mine, actually, Robert Nava. And we scaled some schools really big, you know, even to like multiple 6 figures a month in revenue, you know, which is absolutely crazy. And it was awesome. But then I moved on to the next thing, and that was to have my own little marketing agency. So I basically just worked with some therapists and counselors and that sort of thing, and I helped them get clients. So I launched my own little marketing agency. I had some clients freelancing, got that to like 3-4K a month. And it's like, cool, there you go. That's your cash flow coming in that will fund your life. Then I sort of pivoted to like embedded services. So I went and I worked with at a startup company as like a contracting embedded provider. And cool, that was like fantastic hours, fantastic money. And so I sort of went through this journey of e-com to agency to embedded services. And again, that isn't necessarily the thing that I'd recommend you do now, but that was what I did. But the whole point is this, is that you had to, one, be able to earn money online, and two, you needed the freedom to own the business. Because if you don't really have the ability to get freedom. If you own a business, you can create systems and processes which liberate you from the day-to-day running of the operations. If you've just got a remote job, you're stuck in the weeds, and you're still working 40 to 50 hours a week, you just got a slightly better view, right? If you're thinking, I don't know, I want to get out, I want to travel, I want a little bit more freedom over my life, what business should I start? Well, let me share exactly what I would do if I was starting from day one, right here, right now. Just gonna go upstairs they've got a really cool little balcony in this coffee shop here. I'll just show you that now. I just want to say, if you like this type of thing, if you want to travel the world working online, just create a little bit more freedom in your life. I just want to let you know I've got a weekly newsletter called Trippy Tuesdays. I share practical, actionable things that you can do just to essentially try and start working online so you can travel the world. So if you like that, what I recommend you do is scan the QR code that's on the screen right now, or click the link in the description below this video and enter your details below on the next page. And if you sign up right now, I'll also send you a ton of bonus emails with some video trainings as well, just as a thank you for signing up. So scan the QR code to click the link right now, enter your email on the next page, and I'll see you in the inbox soon. But let me show you this awesome view here. So, look at this. Like, Honestly, Ho Chi Minh has some of the best coffee shops. In fact, the other day I just worked at that one just over there, and beautiful. And they pretty much got them on every like sort of intersection street corner like this. They've just got these amazing coffee shops with super cheap coffee, great views. Honestly, like I'd probably say Ho Chi Minh is the best city I've ever been to for remote working and just in terms of coffee culture. It's beautiful, beautiful. So, if I was starting again, right, completely from scratch, it's day one. What would I do if I wanted to launch an online business, make money online, create a life of freedom? Personally, what I would do is I would focus on three things. The first thing that I would do is I would look at building an audience. Look, AI is here. And some experts are saying in 5 years' time, AI is going to wipe out all online jobs, and we need to prepare for that. So there's only two solutions that are available long-term for us. One of them is to build an AI business. Now, I don't know about you, but right now, the idea of building an online business makes me wanna smother my nutsack in peanut butter and give it to a Great Dane. But the other is to build a personal brand or an audience. And that's what I'm doing right now, right? Like I'm in the very act of doing that right now. And I would be a big fuck off hypocrite if I advised you or maybe potentially recommended you to do something and I didn't do that myself. So the first thing is to build an audience, and you do that by delivering value to people and trying to help people. Like in this video, I'm sharing the actual things which change it. I'm not saying, hey, you know, become a fucking copywriter and buy my copywriting course, or, you know, hey, do drop shipping and join my drop shipping mentorship or any of that bollocks, right? I'm showing that the actual things that move the needle for me and the actual things that I'm doing right now, so that in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, my life is the way that I want it to be. So first off is to build an audience or a personal brand. Secondly, I would then look at delivering tremendous amounts of value for a very low monthly fee in the form of a membership. Now, a membership can give access to lots of different things. It can give access to a community and courses and calls and support and templates and resources and email training, all of those things. But the main thing is that you create content and you do things that solves a problem for people and helps people. And then what you can do, as I said, you can package some of that information into like a membership or community or courses and sell that at a low ticket price. And I think that's a really ethical thing to do, because for a low ticket price, you make it very financially accessible for a lot of people, and you can really help a lot of people as well. And what that's going to help you do is basically build up that, like we said, that monthly recurring income, which is going to build up that cash flow working towards your TMI. Then the third step would be, once you've got an audience of people that you know and you like them and you want to help them, and maybe you've got a membership built of community and courses and these different things that's really helping people, I'd then look at delivering more products. And those products could be higher ticket programs, it could be coaching or cohorts, it could be AI tools, it could be software, it could be anything like that. But just knowing that you're leading it towards a product. And that's essentially a framework I call the AMP framework, audience membership product. That is the thing that I am doubling down on now between the years of 25 to 2030. Maybe more, and that's probably what I'd recommend for you too. But ultimately, what I would say is anything will work if you stick at it for 5 years. Like, ultimately what I'd say is anything will work if you stick at it for a long enough period of time. But that is the thing that I'm doing, and if I was starting here, day one, that is what I would do. But now you might be thinking, you know, what the hell do I make content about? Or, you know, what the bloody hell do I launch a membership about? Or how do I actually do this? Well, again, what I recommend you do is, it's out the scope of this video, right? But I do try and put up tons of videos on my channel that give you very specific, actionable things that you can actually do to go out and start building your own life of freedom. So if that's the kind of thing you dig, please do think about subscribing to the channel, and you know, we can stay in touch. But one thing I'd really like to end with is I like a would you rather question. I'm a big fan of a would you rather question. So let me ask you this. Would you rather earn $20,000 a month and be stuck in the West and only be able to travel for 20 days a year? Or would you rather have $2,000 a month coming in, but you only work 10 hours a week doing things you enjoy from anywhere in the world? I'd love to know. Like, it's not a trick question, there's no right or wrong, but please do in the comments, just let me know where you're at and sort of what your reason is as to why you picked that thing. But look,
I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you're a legend. You're never gonna get that time back, so I appreciate you investing it with me. And YouTube's probably recommending a video on the screen right now. Could be there, could be there. My direction's not great, but it will think that you'll like that video as well. So hopefully I see that soon. Thanks.